Hi everyone, in this video we'll have a look at compound interest. Now in the previous lesson we had a look at simple interest. Compound interest is very similar to simple interest. In fact, it's repeated simple interest. So a compound interest is again a type of interest that banks typically use. Interest is added to the balance before the next interest is calculated. So this is really important. So interest is added, therefore we have a new principal value each time we calculate interest, which means that interest changes every payment period. So the interest gained or the interest you pay to a bank can either increase or decrease depending on whether you have made an investment or you have taken a loan. So what does the term compounding mean? It means that the interest is calculated within a given period. So compounding means the period where interest is calculated. So if we are given the term compounding annually, this means that interest is calculated only once a year. It's per annum. If we are given compounding monthly, then this means that interest is calculated monthly, so it's 12 times a year. If we're given compounded quarterly, this means that interest is calculated quarterly, so 4 times. If we're given fortnightly, that's 26 times. If we're given daily, then we take it as 365. We exclude leap years. So over here we have an example where it says, find the total value of a $300 investment invested at 10% compounded annually for 2 years. Now, in this video, I will show you 2 ways to calculate compound interest. The first way is through repeated simple interest. So over here, like with previous lesson, we need to extract key information. We need to determine the key information. We need to start off with the principal. So principal is the initial amount invested, and that's $300. Given we're looking at an investment example, if we were looking at loan, it would be the initial amount, initial loan amount. So over here it's investments, $300. Next we need to find the interest rate, and that's 10% compounded annually. And next up, we need to look at the term, which is the period, which is 2 years. Now, the simple interest rule, I'll just write that down. Simple interest was I equals to P times R times T over 100. Now, given this as being compounded rather than simple interest, we need to separate the years into 2. Remember, we need to calculate the interest gained in the first year and add that to find our new principal value. So year 1, we use the simple interest rule, so that's 300 times 10% times 1 over 100, and that gives us $30. So this gives us the interest gained after the first year. So in order to find the interest gained in the second year, I need to add this $30 to my initial principal amount. So my initial principal amount was $300. However, I've gained $330 interest, so I now have $330. So the new interest should be calculated using the new value, which is $330. So again, so P equals 330. R stays the same and T is equal to 1 because we're looking at 1 year at a time. So I have 330 times 10 times 1 over 100, and that gives me $33. Now this is the interest gained, but the question said find the total value of the $300 investment invested at 10% compounded annually for 2 years. So we need to find the new value after 2 years. So after the first year, the value was $330. So at the end of the second year, that's going to be $330 plus $33 interest gained. So the new value of this investment is $363. So that's the new value of the investment. The use of repeated simple interest in order to find compound interest can be very time consuming. So instead of using simple interest, we can use the compound interest formula. The compound interest formula gives us the new value of the investment or the loan after n years. So over here we have A equals to P times 1 plus R over 100 to the power of n. Now A stands for the new value or amount. It's often referred to as amount of the investment or the loan, depending on the context of the question. Now P is the initial value. Again, it's of the investment or the loan, depending on the context of the question. R equals to the interest value, and N is the time period. Now, given we're looking at, in this unit over here, compounding annually, we're looking at years, but this can change, and we'll have a look at this in upcoming lessons. So if we want to find the total value of an investment or a loan compounding annually, we can use this rule. Now, it's important to know that this rule gives us the new value of the amount of the investment or loan. It doesn't give us the interest gained. Now, the simple interest formula gives us the interest gained. The compound interest formula gives us the total value, the new value of the investment or loan. Now, we can find the total interest, and that can be found using the following rule. Interest equals to amount, so that's the new amount, minus principal, and that is the initial amount. So therefore, the total interest is equal to the new amount take away the principal, so the initial value of the investment alone. So over here we have example 2 where it says find the total value of the investment of $1,500 invested at an interest rate of 3.5% per annum, compounding annually for 5 years. So we need to first of all extract the key information, and that is the initial principal, so initial value of the loan, which is P, and that's 1,500. Next, we need to extract the interest rate, and that's 3.5% per annum, and the time period we're looking at, and over here that's 5 years. Now, the question says find the total value of the investment. So we're looking for A. So A equals to P times 1 plus R over 100 to the power of N. Now, P is principal, so that's 1,500. 1 plus R is 3.5 over 100 to the power of 5. Now, if you have a TI Nspire, you could plug this in and it'll give you the answer. If you don't, you could still do this with scientific calculator. You just need to work with BODMaths over here. So it's 1.035 to the power of 5, and that gives us 1,781.529. Now, because we're dealing with money, you must round this to 2 decimal places. So this gives us a total of $1,781.53. So this is the new value of the investment after 5 years. Okay, next we will have a look at an example where we're asked to find the total interest gained within a given period. So over here it says, A, determine the money accumulated after 4 years if $350 is invested at an interest rate of 5% per annum compounding annually. So over here we're asked to find the total money accumulated. So we're looking for A, the new value of the investment, and B says determine the total amount of interest earned within this period. So we're looking for I. So first of all, we're looking for A, and we know that A equals to P times 1 plus R over 100 to the power of N. We need to find what P, R, and N are. So P is the initial value, so that's $350. R is the interest rate, so that's 5, and N is the period, which is 4 years. So if we substitute these into our rule, it's 350 times 1 plus 5 over 100 to the power of 4. That gives us 350 times 1.05 to the power of 4, and that gives us 425.427. Again, we're dealing with money, therefore we need to round this to the nearest cent. So the total amount is $425.43. Now, Part B says determine the total amount of interest earned. So total amount of interest earned within these 4 years. So the total interest earned can be found by finding the total amount, or the new value of the investment or loan, take away the initial value. Anything in between is going to be the interest. So A is 425.43, and the principal was $350. So that is $75.43. So this is the interest earned within 4 years.